lots changed in the last 3 months.
God, you have really
I
changed.
put in my hair and now I'm talking about paying to park. What's going on here? Oh.
I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe, there has to be something better than man. Has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascension to 10.
All right, we're jumping right into it. Is that a new pull-up bar? Pull-up bar back there?
It is, man. It is.
Evolution of a setup.
It is.
Oh, it's good to see you,
baby.
man.
We're back.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, and this has been the longest stretch of us not talking to each other daily.
Yeah, that's true.
We went a year talking to each other every single day outside of our normal group chat.
Right.
To almost 3 months of silence.
Is that how long it was? Oh, man.
Almost.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about. So, obviously we had an episode Jordan talked about. He's got Sloan. He's got a little baby girl.
Yeah.
Congrats again. And
Thank you.
There was an episode right after where we did Phantom. Bryan jumped in, and I was like, "Oh, we'll see what we can do. Get some new ones." And for me, just shit fell apart.
Just a shitstorm, huh?
A bunch of other stuff going on, and I was like, I texted Jad, and I was like, I don't think I can do this right now. And he's like, "It's cool, man. Don't worry." But now it's been like 3 months, and it's kind of like, okay, we gotta get going. We gotta get back into this. Like, this isn't over.
Do this again. Yeah.
It's not over. It was a year. Good job,
in.
guys. At least we tried, because we both love doing this. So it wasn't anything like that. It was just, one of those
life
things,
happened.
but
Life found a way, and it just so happened that your life got crazy at the same time that I wasn't able to do anything other than survive. So it worked out.
So is this season 2 now?
I was thinking about that. I mean, I'm like trying to brainstorm titles, right? And I'm like, should we just start season 2? But what was the stipulation of season 2 was going to coincide with us doing like shirtless weigh-ins or something for like fat fish challenge. Like, but something like that, right? It was season. I think season 2 was going to be the conclusion of Fat Face Challenge in some way. Like, the start was going to be the end of one thing. So
this is season 1, part 2.
That's a great way to put it. That's our title, right there.
So we took we had a little, sabbatical and took care of some things, and now we're back at it.
That's right.
One thing we've learned is we're going to be recording later, which is always fun, because we'll be just full of energy and being vibrant and all that good stuff. Do you like this new shirt? I wore this just for you.
I love it, man. I love what you got going on over there.
You've been highlighting some new outfits that you've been acquiring, and you've got quite the drip going nowadays.
I tell you what, man. Well, I think
do you just like circulate a wardrobe like every 5 years? Do you just totally throw everything away and then redo?
Well, to a certain extent, I usually will go through a period where this is the first time in my life where it's drastically changed the kind of stuff that I'm wearing.
Sure.
Because before it was always jeans and a t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
But to your point, I would wear the same jeans and t-shirts for like 3 or 4 years. Nothing would ever change. And then I would just get a new t-shirt or something, and then a few more. Mm-hmm. And so it would be this kind of shifting landscape of the same stuff. But as we talked about one of the episodes a long time ago how I got into golf shirts, right? And I posted all those golf shirts. Well, that just waterfalled in, and just it just hasn't stopped really. Whole identity is these fucking golf clothes now.
Have you golfed yet this year?
Once.
Oh, okay. Once. It's not like you have time, but
yeah. That's it's more of the I think for me I have to laugh at myself internally just how much I just dog shitted on golf clothes, how much I just thought it was dumb. And now it's almost my whole identity.
That's awesome. That's great.
I mean, I think it probably, well, see, this is the thing. Well, this happened before I had baby.
Mm-hmm.
But around the same time that we knew we were going to have a baby. And so I think it was my clothing identity evolved with my impending change in identity as a parent, right? And so my dad wardrobe was, I was just incubating it prior to actual baby arrival.
Man, you got it. You had it. Yeah, you just got it just popping, just coming out. Got a baby come out, and you're just ready. Take that kid out everywhere.
Yeah, I was ready to have the dad clothes already. And I heard, there's this saying where people have a life event. Usually it's people have a breakup or something and they change their hair. Had a kid, started putting crap in my hair. Now my hair is different. When it was before my entire life never had product in my hair. And now I doing this action.
You jizz it up.
So
we actually
put some jizz in there and
we both have long hair.
I know this now. Is you got long hair right now. I'm liking it, man. I've just been 3 months since I've seen you. We show up in the night in the same fucking haircut. That's awesome.
That shows some
things never change, man. I will say it feels like, I mean, it's been 3 months. It feels like it's been 3 years, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it does. No, for sure. Like, I feel like so much has changed. I mean, especially for you. I mean, those first 3 months with the little one, things changed so much. And and you come back and you're in a new lab. Can I talk about that just for a little bit? Because it's like, that's sweet. Like, you were using a bunch of like stuff was broken and you had water running down the walls, and now you have this new state of the art lab that you're working at.
It just so happens that our other lab got a lot of water damage right before we were going to move to a new space. So it was like, does it even matter? Kind of thing. But yeah, my parental leave ended. Like the day that I came back from parental leave was our big move. So it was actually good. It was a good thing to come back to it was a good way for me to come back to work because get to start on this new, like short-term project of doing the move and getting in a new space. But
yeah. Well, I think
cool new space.
I think the audience really wants to know what's the magnet setup in the new space.
The magnets got washed away in the flood. I don't know what happened to them, man. They're gone. I came back and they're gone. So it's like, really, can I even do my work now? Like, what have I even been doing since I've been back without those magnets?
How are you gonna hold up that light switch or whatever?
I know.
I guess you don't have to do that anymore. So.
No, we got a new state of the art thing that
now.
I don't have to bring in a DIY thing from home that I made just to make this old fan thing work.
That's awesome.
Magnets have not been required in the new space. But yeah,
that's good. There was one thing I just thought of when you were talking about your golf attire. So you told the story that you went golfing and you were leaving and it was kind of dark and you were driving and you're like, I can't see. So that was right after you went to the dealership and got your oil changed, right? Or serviced or whatever.
Yep.
So I took Kendra's car and I got it serviced for the first time. Didn't touch anything, didn't drive at night.
Yep.
We're coming home from a friend's house and I can't see. I can't see. And it's driving me banana. I was like, why these headlights just suck? What is going on? And we pull up in, we get home. I pull into the driveway. It was like 10:30 at night. It was a late night for us, for the family. And we get in and I'm like, wait, like the headlights aren't on. And you look down and those motherfuckers turn the thing off. Like, why do they do that?
I know. What purpose does that serve? To turn off the automatic lights. I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny though.
Yeah. So that was just a little, made me think of Jad when that happened. Because, you know, it was delayed. You know, it was like a week later. He was like, oh, haven't had headlights on. So,
yeah, they got you good, man.
They got us good.
Well, you mentioned that pull-up bar behind me.
Yeah, buddy.
You and I have also been doing some, well, more so me in terms of things that are new.
Yeah.
Your boys have been trying to do the FFC.
Again. It's spring, might as well do it again.
Yeah. I guess off the books. We haven't reinstated the FFC.
Right.
And we haven't challenged each other in any way, but your boys have been running. And
that's right. That's a big thing for you too, by the way. I mean,
so Spenny's been doing that off and on for a long time, right? Like many years, since college or before that. As we've discussed before, I think I told the story about saying that I could run a quarter mile in like 45 seconds, right?
Yeah.
I think I talked about at that time that like I haven't run. I don't run, and I have no experience running, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, one day I just woke up and went running just to see what happened. I put it forth to myself, can I even run a mile? And even before that, the greater challenge in my mind was, can I even get outside to start running a mile? Like the act of even trying was as great of a challenge to me as completing a mile, which I wasn't sure if I could do. Well, accomplished both tasks, and ever since, it's been about a month and a half or so, right?
Yeah,
since or ish.
Well, and the other thing too, the first mile you ran, didn't you do it at like 6 a.m? Like it was a super.
Oh, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. Because
and then we're all like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
He's losing his mind, right? The thing was, what I decided was that I didn't want anybody to look at me while I was running, and so I feel like 5 o'clock in the morning was probably a safe bet. But I was awake anyways, right? At that point, it was like,
sure you were.
Just like, might as well do something, right? So I don't know. We've been just kind of logging times, right? And it's been surprisingly not that bad for me. Now, I will admit, running's hard, and I make no. I don't want to discredit the act of running. It's hard, especially the first time I ran over 3 miles, because I was like running 2 miles and stuff, and Wooters was saying, well, you should run a 5K and just quit or something. And then so the next day I ran a 5K, the first time in my life, and then it's like, it really only counts if you run 8 miles. I was like, let me have this 5K here.
Well, yeah, the other thing that was great is that with your running, you opened yourself up. I said we should do a half marathon. You said I won't pay to run outside, and I said, great, we'll find one inside. So if anyone knows of a half marathon you can run inside, let us know, because Chad's gonna get signed up for it.
An indoor racetrack where you run
like a
500 laps.
Mall run. Just run around the Nashville malls.
That's gonna be like 200 or 300 laps, right?
I don't know. Malls are big.
I suppose. No, I mean that was a great technicality you got me on there. So
never heard of a half marathon inside, but yeah, you never know.
I mean, you never know. The thing is, what I'm learning is that I don't know. I say I'll never pay to run outside. I was also thinking I'd never run outside kind of thing. And here we are. So if there's
slippery slope here, buddy.
I know if there's an Ascension to 10, if I don't know, an Ascension to 10 themed race or something where we sponsor an event, maybe maybe your boys will meet up and do a run.
We'll make it a triathlon. It'll be a 2-mile run and 9 rounds of 9 holes of golf and
open a new
drag
category.
race on with some 4-wheelers. Something stupid.
So speaking of which, though, the things that I would say I would never do. Now I haven't committed to paying to run outside, right? What I'm saying now is that I'm changing in the sense that,
right.
You know what, maybe things aren't that bad in the world, and maybe I can do or am willing to do things like pay to run outside.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this will never happen anymore. And to that end, I was just telling Sarah this morning, I was thinking, it might be time for me to consider having a conversation with the parking people on campus, because I'm wasting like fucking an hour a day now that I don't have, just walking around trying to get to and from work. And
yeah.
At this point,
I mean, how far would you park if you paid?
Well, see, that's what I don't know. There is a possibility that there is a lot that's right next to my building, and if I can park there, because for some reason they zone it weird where not everybody can park where they want or something, or you have to be certain.
Got to get on the list. Yeah.
So, point being, I've now also come to a realization that the cost that the actual price of paying to park, and also the mental toll of paying to park, is increasingly becoming worth more of my time, less of my time, whatever that you would, get what I mean. My time is worth more. Right. So I think I need to start paying to park because I have no time.
I mean, you could run from the...
Load up my backpack and just ride in the backpack, flip flops around my back for 2 miles.
Make sure your coffee's screwed on tight.
Yeah, I know, right?
Cold brew.
So,
right. Yeah. No, I totally get that. That makes a lot of sense.
It's lots changed in the last 3 months.
God, you have really changed.
I put jizz in my hair, and now I'm talking about paying to park. What's going on here? I want to say I really enjoyed the listening to you and Bryan on the Phantom episode.
That was a fun episode.
It was a lot of fun. You guys did a great job, and it was fun being in the audience for that one. Obviously, I would have loved to be with you guys, but it was a great product. Now, your conversation before you started talking about the movie, it did bring up a lot of stories in my. It reminded me of a lot of stories that we haven't told yet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, they all somewhat involve Bryan, like the three of us. So I feel like, I don't know, we got to give Bryan another shot to be on the show here if I'm going to talk about these stories. But you were talking about, one thing that came to mind was you were talking about Brocco, right? And just all the ladies' nights and stuff.
Yeah,
and that kind of, like you said, I was in Boston, so I missed a lot of those. But then that next year, I would go to a few of them.
Yeah.
And it's not a club vibe by any means, but for Sioux Falls, it's kind of, yeah. But for Sioux Falls, it kind of approaches that territory, right? Of club-ish, especially with when you guys are talking about like wearing whatever clothes you had, right? Whatever kind of, we're going out kind of clothes and stuff.
Going out. I think that's when I was in my, I was really into like these jeans, and then not affliction t-shirts, but it was my Obey. Was it Obey shirts? The ones with the eyes on it. I had like 5 of those stupid things.
I was thinking that would this have been the time for Bryan where he would wear the dog tags? Like he wore a dog tag necklace for a while, and I think it was about that time. The post-college era of Bryan was these dog tags. I don't know what they said or what they were.
That's awesome.
Maybe. But it reminded me of a story around, I guess, the same time. No, this would have been after college, but I went with a few of my college friends to Minneapolis for a DJ concert, I guess if you want to call it, EDM thing. We went to an Avicii concert, and
sweet.
It was super cool. And at that time, I don't know, Avicii was big in that world.
Yeah, he was killing it.
And so we were, I don't know, doing a lot of drinking before the concert, right? Before we went to the concert. And if you know me with that, it's like 0 to 100 immediately, and I'm like sick right away. And this is 2.5, 3 hours before Avicii is even gonna think about being on stage, right?
Right.
So we're all fairly gone by the time we get to the venue, and there's a couple of openers and stuff, and the music is loud and it's super bassy, and there's lights flashing and stuff, and so it just made me feel sick immediately, right? And there's a lot of people and stuff, and I'm just kind of like, trying to hang on as best I could, and there was a point where I thought, no, I can't do this, and so I find my way to the bathroom, and because I'm gonna puke. Find the bathroom, and it's one of these clubs are just so weird because the bathroom was just like this open room. It was like a hallway that you could just walk into from the venue part. And I find a trash can, and not to get too graphic and stuff and gross people out, but from about 5 feet away, I start puking, and it just is a perfect arc into the trash can. Not a single drop spilled anywhere, and it was completely contained. I 3-point shotted this. It was like my basketball story where I did a half-court shot.
45 seconds left.
And all went in this trash can. Felt so much better. I went to the sink, and I was feeling like $1 million. As soon as I finish, wiping my face and stuff, this guy comes out of nowhere, grabs me behind the arm, hooks my arm and stuff, and he goes, "All right, let's go. You're out of here."
Just because of that?
It was a bouncer, and you watched the whole thing happen. You watched this guy. You watched this random ass guy.
That's amazing.
And he just was, I guess, standing there watching the whole thing, watched me arc this puke into the trash can, let me get cleaned up, and just watched the whole thing until I was good to go.
Right,
then he said, "You're out of here." Keep in mind, Avicii wasn't even close to coming on stage yet.
So did you? So you just got through.
Well, so I said, "Oh man, no, I'm so sorry. This is, I was just got a little sick. I'm so much better now, and I'm, it won't happen again. I'll just drink water the rest of the night, I promise," and stuff. And he goes, "No, you puked. You're out of here. We don't tolerate that kind of stuff." And so I said, "Oh, okay. Well, can I go talk to my friends and stuff?" I had no idea where we were, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have a smartphone or anything. Right, because this is like, I don't know, 2011, I think, and right. And so I said, "Oh, so is there any way I can go, meet my friend and stuff, to say, hey, I'm leaving, I guess, and where's our hotel and stuff?" He said, "Okay." So he's like escorting me over, and I find Ian, and I tell Ian all of what happened, and he goes, "You should just go run in the crowd." What's he gonna do? So I was like, "Well, I don't know if I can do that. So I went and I talked to the guy and I said, look, is there any way I can stay? And he said, yeah, you can stay for $20. And I said, okay. Well, so is that $20 going to the club or to you? Or I don't know why I asked this question. Right? I had no idea why I felt like I needed to itemize this receipt, right? And he said,
all right, buddy,
this is $20 for you to stay in. And so I said, gotcha. So I paid him, and then I was able to stay in and had the rest of the night there. So I had completely forgotten about that story until you guys were talking about Bracco, and for some reason that
that's awesome
kickstarted
story.
that memory. Oh.
So you did get to see a VC. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yep.
That's solid.
Yeah, it was all good, but so what in the world happened there?
So I have a memory of you the last time I think I saw you like over the limit, shall we say?
Yeah.
I think it was your bachelor party.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of two of us holding you up by your belt, carrying you down the sidewalk.
Oh, downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember that picture. I obviously don't remember that part of it, but
yeah, you remember the
and
then that was a night you were teaching everybody about Graham's number.
Was that on the porch of Bryan's porch and stuff,
porch.
where it was like standing out there for 4 hours?
That's our friend Matt Hubble. Our friend Hubs was pouring peach and Crown and peach shots that were just.
He said
horrible.
They were like, oh my God, it was so bad. I hate peach anyways. And he was pouring what he called 3-finger shots, but it was in a solo cup. So it was like gigantic. It was like a full drink. And that's what he was pouring as shots.
Yep.
Didn't that night start on their roof? We were on their roof.
Yeah.
Shotgunning beers and stuff. And then we went and did go-karts.
They had built a makeshift like bridge across with a pallet or something, right?
From the garage to the house, right?
To the house. Crazy stuff.
That was a great whole weekend, that bachelor party.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
And it involved being at Hubble's parents' house in Brandon and digging out his trombone and just playing that trombone in the back porch and stuff.
I just kept playing Go Big Red over and over and over.
Yep.
I'm sure the neighbors loved it.
Burr, 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 burr. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
I got introduced to sous vide at that place too. I think Ian made sous vide.
Yep. I was so sick that next day that I didn't Hubble got a gigantic steak for me or something as like a bachelor party gift and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't eat a single bite of that because I was just so sick from the night before.
Well, track record you have.
That's pretty much how it goes every time. But I mean, the last time we were all together in Colorado, within 2 hours of me being at the Airbnb, I was puking in the sink.
I bet that.
And yeah.
Well, speaking of something like that, so the movie that we decided to talk about this week is Street Fighter. And I learned a little tidbit on Street Fighter that Jean-Claude Van Damme was basically just coked out of his mind this whole movie. And if you've seen the movie, like the way he acts, like he just
I guess that makes sense.
Like the way he moves, the way he's talking, like he just doesn't look like he can focus on anything. And it turns out he was spending like $10,000 a day on cocaine. It was just like, what is happening?
Oh, I guess that adds up. That explains a lot, actually.
Yeah, like he was the, the main star. He was the headline of the movie, and Apparently this was back in the 90s. He was really hitting it hard, and
I gotta say though, as this main character, he wasn't in it a lot. Do you notice that?
Yeah, because
they kept in it.
Because he was so fucked up on cocaine. He kept he just call in sick. He would call in sick for the movie.
They just delete him from scenes.
Yeah, and the director is the guy Steven D'Souza. He's the one that did Die Hard, and he just said that. I mean, basically, Van Damme just decided when he wanted to come and be in the film, and then he would just work around.
Yikes!
And that's why it was like, yeah, it was weird. Like Yikes. He was the main character, but never really in it, except for like just to say stupid stuff. So
yeah,
it was just kind of interesting.
I have a full disclosure here, Spenny.
Yeah,
I don't remember a lot about what this movie was because I watched it when we first started talking about getting back, and that was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so this narrative, whatever's about to happen, is me trying my best to remember in this movie.
The narrative is, I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, this is all based off a game, right? So it's Street Fighter 2 came out in 1993, and this is kind of like piggybacked off that release. So it's kind of like the live action version of Street Fighter, which is all these elite fighters get together, but somehow they turned it into this war
story.
Bison versus these the United Nations, but they call them whatever the
Allied Nations, right?
The Allied Nations.
Yeah. Yeah, Bison. I was thinking, what was his name? His name was Bison?
General M. Bison.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
What I remember from... Okay, do you have a synopsis?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think so. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't remember if I did that or not. All right, let's do this. Well, hopefully it makes sense. Maybe it'll refresh your memory.
Okay, that's what I'm counting on.
One sec. Why is this not working? Oh, here we go. The city of Chandalu or something in Thailand appears to have fallen. The Eagle drug lord, General M. Bison, has used his drug money to buy the world's most advanced weapon. He's taken hostages and demands the Allied nations give him $20 billion. Colonel William Guile leads an army of soldiers to stop Bison from his secret lair while floating on his giant hoverboard around his lair. Guile, played by John Claude Van Damme, is actually so hopped up on cocaine he can't seem to keep it together and decides to take a stealth boat up a river in the middle of the day to rescue hostages, defeat Bison, and save the world.
Okay, thank you. That brought a lot back. Stealth boat.
Fucking stealth boat. They literally,
He's leading an entire army of allied people to storm this pyramid, and he and one other person are in this protected boat, and everybody else is on a completely exposed canoe, basically. He's in a fucking invisible jet boat.
Like
that they see immediately. It didn't work.
Even if it was stealth or invisible, you'd still see the waves parting. Be like, oh gosh, wonder what this is.
It's so loud, and he's like, there's guns, and he's shooting other guns and stuff. But literally everybody else is just completely exposed. Oh man.
There's one part of this stealth boat where he takes out a cassette and then he puts it in the boat. He's driving the boat and he starts watching a video of like memories from a cassette. A cassette of like a tape cassette, like something you would play music from.
The memories are of his friend who's captured, right?
Yes.
But before this mission, he didn't know it was captured, right? Or like before, or when would he have had these home videos made?
Well, here's the part. So this guy, his name's Carlos, gets captured, and it's like his best friend. So but like he gets turned into the beast, but somehow Guile immediately knows that that's his friend. Yeah. He doesn't look anything like him.
His first knee-jerk reaction is to kill him. Right. He's the product of this science experiment, and then he just pulls out his gun immediately. He's like, "There's no other way. Gotta kill
I'll
you.
take care of this now, and I'll take care of him later." Well, yeah, man. But so the stealth boat thing, the reason they had stealth boat is the Thai government wouldn't allow airplanes in their airspace or the number of airplanes. So the improvisation was a boat assault.
I only had one stealth boat. What I remember from that scene was, okay, some random senator or something is in Thailand, and he's like, no, Jean-Claude is giving a war rally, right? To about 50 people, right?
Yeah.
He's like, we're going to go stop Bison and, all this other stuff, and let's go. And then the senator comes and says, nope.
No, we're doing diplomacy. No. We're giving them
we're not
money.
Doing that. We're going to give him the 20 trillion. And Jean-Claude says, no. And then he says, you're fired. And then he says, all right, man, come with me. And then
I'm going upriver.
He assembles the army anyways. And they're all, it's like, wow, and stuff. And Jean-Claude gets in his stealth boat with one other person. They drive away, activate the cloak, and then everybody else.
You know what's best? About the whole boat thing is like the stealth boat is the only boat that got attacked. They just drove right up to the front. It's
the only one that blows up too, right?
Yeah, they drove right up to the front door. There's literally no combat except for the stealth boat. Just gets destroyed.
It gets destroyed by underwater mines, right? Which clearly don't care whether a boat is stealth or not, right? It just they just blow them all up, and by chance one of them gets hit.
Literally, right? the mines those water mines are blowing up, and then they're like, "Whoa, we gotta jump ship." The mines are still going up.
They jump ship into the water where the mines are blowing up. Is this a point where Bison is up in his hover pod and he's like, doing the arcade stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Like his whole thing is literally, it's just a video game console.
Yeah.
That's like all he's, but I don't get the purpose. I don't get the purpose of
it's his war. He can wage war, global war from that command pod, right? And for some reason, it has to be in the air. Like it has to be a hovercraft.
Yes. Well, it's like he's like the wealthiest drug lord, and he's got the most advanced weapons in the world, and it's like,
and his whole
I didn't get what his mission was, just to
turn
everyone into beasts, I think, and then
he wanted to make a lot of beasts so that he could rule take over the world's militaries, so that he could convince everybody to come hang out at his mall. Right, and buy all his merch, I think, is what, because he made a city, or he wants to make a city.
By Sonica or something.
By Sonica. And then he's got all this merch, right? Everything in his lair was Bison branded.
Yeah,
right?
Everything.
Everything in his bedroom was...
Yeah.
Also, this is 90s, right? This is
94.
Like mid-90s. So in his war command room, he's got an entire wall of televisions, which I'm guessing at the time probably looked pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But over half of the actual real estate of that wall was just the bezels from all of the different TVs and stuff. And so it was more just blank space than it was the actual video conference.
Yeah.
But from this thing, he could like have real-time communication with the news reporters, right? And Jean-Claude at one point was just talking directly to him.
Yeah, they could.
From the
he
streets.
Could hack. He hacked the stealth boat, and he was talking right to Gaia. At one point,
the stealth boat.
Well, it was there's these random scenes where like showed like satellites up in space, and it would just be like, like turning or something, and all of a sudden Bison would come on and talk to the people and all that other stuff. So funny.
I will admit, I was having a little trouble following the events, the logic of the first kind of act. So Jean-Claude shows up with the Allied Nations, and it's Bison who kidnapped his friend and a whole bunch of other scientists or random peace people, Red Cross
part of
people,
the Allied Nations, mostly scientists, I think, is the big one.
Yeah. So it was like relief workers. I think that's what it was. It was basically all the white people in Thailand. Bison took and captured, right?
Yes.
And ransomed them for like $20 billion, right? And so the response was Jean-Claude and the Allied Nations army were going to show up to Schmigadoon and
Schmigadoon, that's right.
And like, restore order and stuff. Keep knowing that they had no idea where Bison was.
Yeah.
But they showed up at Schmigadoon anyways. And so then it was for the next 20 minutes or so, it had nothing to do with Bison. And it was like this other drug lord that was in the city. And then there were cage fights and stuff. And there was these arm dealers that were trying to screw over this drug lord. And then at one point, there's a cage fight. And then all of a sudden, Jean-Claude just bursts into this cage fight with a tank and says, "You're all under arrest." That had nothing to do with Bison or the...
It had fucking rockets on it. Giant missiles. He busted through a wall with missiles on this thing.
This has, at this point, literally nothing to do with Bison. And he's just out there like as a cop restoring order to this town. And then I thought this was
I think the point was they were trying to get all the characters like into a single meeting spot. And so Ryu and Ken, they portrayed them as smugglers, weapon smugglers. And this Sagat is this like bad guy with one eye. He has an eye patch. And then Vega was the guy that was in
with the claws,
as a claw thing. But it was like, Van Damme just busts through. It's like, you're all under arrest. I have an armored vehicle with giant rockets on the side, and I just drove through a wall. It was basically it. Apparently he showed up for that scene.
Yep. So you bring up the guy with the claws, right? So these cage fights, I guess you get a weapon of your choice or something, and this hot shot for that local drug lord, the muscle, or he has this like gauntlet. 3 little claws come out. He's like,
Wolverine
scratches at people and stuff. And so he gets arrested, right, with everybody else. And then, half a millisecond later, they're in jail, and they're in a jail yard, and a jail yard fight's about to break out. And so he gets a gauntlet with bamboo and tiny little nails at the end of it. And so he's gonna get this motherfucking weapon. Like that's his whole identity. The only way right?
he can fight.
This fucking scratcher. It just looks so stupid because the first thing was this, badass Wolverine type thing, and then he's like got nails on bamboo.
Yeah, he also had this braid that was this ponytail that was braided all the way down to like his back.
Yeah,
and he'd always be whipping it around.
Yeah,
like, you see that? Check out this.
There's a lot of flair.
Yeah.
But his whole identity was those little scratcher things.
Yeah.
And
there was a scene when the jailhouse was happening, and it was over the loudspeaker. You hear like a DJ, sounded like "Good Morning Vietnam" kind of style.
Yeah.
But they were like, "Say, anyone know what to do when a bison trooper throws a grenade at you? Pick it up and throw it right back." It was just like, what?
Yeah, it was like, what is going on here in Schmagaloo?
No, the first 40 minutes, it doesn't make sense because they're talking about how the city has fallen. Bison is way out in a temple somewhere, and the allied nations are in the city. So
yep.
Where did the city fall? And
I know, right?
Where's that part go into
what
the story?
Purpose is it for them to be in the city? That's not where the hostages are, right?
No.
Clearly, because I also thought it was funny that through that same PA system or something for the whole city.
Yep.
The AN or enacted or had curfews going on. So they were there to liberate the city, and then they were just policing the entire thing into the ground. Which maybe is a commentary on, whatever, Western, who cares? But
didn't you know there was a curfew at Chandelou City? Well, so back to the lab. So Bison has those people captured. He's got these scientists. He wants them to build the ultimate war machine. And Carlos, who is Guile's good friend, is going to be test subject number 1. And they wheel out, just like in Batman and Robin, they wheel out the giant gallon-size IV bags
of toxins,
and
right?
they only have 2 different ones, but there's 4 bags, and one just says DNA mutagens and anabolic plasma, and it's just 2 giant things. They're just Gatorade, and
just steroids and some petroleum, like plutonium.
Yeah, it was just.
That reminds me, because he's in this hyperbolic chamber, right, or hyperbaric chamber the whole time, getting mutated and stuff, and
his mind is being transformed because they keep showing violence and war scenes and all that stuff.
There at one point there's these graphic interfaces that they kind of flash back to show that he's in there and he's changing and stuff. And I thought it was really funny because it would be like a computer screen readout, and the middle of this screen is kind of was it a Vitruvian man or something, like the Da Vinci thing, where it's just a man shape, right, and wide arms and then wide legs and stuff. But then in the 4 corners, it's an image of a guy squatting. It's like a real-time readout of what he's doing, and it's just him kind of sitting there. And it just seemed like a person sitting is the least threatening kind of depiction of, I don't know, violence, I think. I don't know. Because it's just like this, where he's just like arms forward, 90-degree angle of his legs and butt and stuff. And I don't know, I just like, why make a graphic like that, right? That was a conscious choice of someone had to make that, right? He made it once, and then he just like copied and pasted like, in the corners.
So there's a scene at the end where everyone's like running out of Bison's place, but one of the characters, Ken, is trying to find his buddy Ryu, and there's a screen, the security camera screen, but they aren't the cameras. It just has icons of like a dude like for the gym. So he like keeps pushing all the different ones, and it's like, why why? Like, how does anyone know where these things are? Why don't you just have where the things are? So I think that has to be back to the game itself, but it was just one of those weird things.
That just reminded me of one element of this story. So at one point, they find it necessary to pretend like they killed Jean-Claude.
Yeah,
to make
Jean-Claude comes
Bison
out.
think he's dead.
Yeah, they
they staged the escape, right?
Yeah, they recruit Ryu and Ken because they want them to infiltrate Bison's place, and then Guile wants him to think that he died.
Okay, so they do this, staging where basically Jean-Claude is chasing after this getaway vehicle and shooting real bullets at this, at the guys that he just recruited, and then all the people in the car are shooting back at him with real guns and stuff, and then there's these prop gun explosions in his, or bullet impacts in his gut, right? And so he's like, oh, he's dead. And then later that night, this TV reporter, the newscaster, infiltrates the morgue, and Jean-Claude has just been fucking laying there by himself for hours.
For hours. Because he died midday. The sun is out. She comes in the dark of night.
And nobody's there, right? So why didn't he just wake up? He only woke up when she was there.
Yeah.
He's just been wasting all that time chilling out with a body bag on top of him, right?
Right. I mean, that's where the movie kind of pivots. Like, because I mean, this first part that we're talking about with like the introduction of all the characters and stuff, that took like 40 minutes. Like, it was way too long. And then there was this like 15 minutes where none of this made sense, because suddenly this Lee, she's like a newscaster, and she's got her sumo guy and the black boxing guy.
I guess those were characters, right? They must have been characters. Okay.
Right, but then all of a sudden they're at this tent house thing. Where like everyone's getting the entertainment. It's like a circus, kind of like Bison's in there and getting entertained. And it's like talking about all the weapons that you can buy.
The warlords.
Like the warlords like get together. And I don't know, it took like it all leads up to this newscaster has a truck full of explosives, and she has a video in a closet, and she's like, haha, I'm gonna get you, and the truck starts rolling. Well, the truck explodes, and it's 50 to 100 feet away from the tent. Like, it never gets anywhere near it, so everything just explodes, but the tent's totally fine. And then it just kind of swaps over to Guile and being back and getting ready to go on the stealth ship.
Because so she sneaks in, right, as you said, and she's this dancer. They're all there. Her whole crew is staged as magicians or something, right? And so she hacks into their video feed again, because that's just the theme of this whole movie is hacking into the feed. And she broadcasts from a porta potty or something, like 10 feet away from the tent, a feed of the truck that's 300 yards away. and then she's like, I got you good. Bye. And then it's like 3 minutes where the truck is heading towards the tent, and then they're all just kind of waiting.
Yep.
But then, as you said, it blows up way beforehand, and then everybody's fine. And then they get captured immediately.
Literally, no one got killed.
No one got killed, and they got captured.
That's why it was just like,
because they stuck around, right? They stuck around for that the debacle to happen, and then they had no escape plan, I guess.
Right. Yeah. They were just hoping that it blew up, I guess.
Yeah. There's something else about I don't know. Something
Well,
about
they're
yeah. Sorry.
I was gonna say, well, like after they get back, so it's basically there's like 3 groups. It's like the prisoners, and then Ryu and Ken are like now like henchmen because they've infiltrated Bison. And there's the part where they get to go to the gym.
The gym, the locker room.
It's like a taekwondo. It's so they're a bunch of guys wearing taekwondo, like karate uniforms, but the sleeves are cut off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bench press, so there's like people doing weights, but the music in the background is Russian music playing in like with the background. It's just a very, very interesting kind of concept. Love the lockers though. Everybody's got their own locker.
So everybody's got a red locker. Really nice. Yep. Everyone's got personal. It's their place to add personal flair to what they got going on, right?
Yep.
But at one point they're so the reporter gets captured, right? Mm-hmm. And she then is forced into wearing she gets summoned to Bison's lair.
Yes.
And he's, I guess, gonna seduce her, or like, I don't know, not seduce her, but or she has to change into other clothes at one point, right?
Yeah, she has to get into formal wear or whatever it is.
She then starts laying out her master plan, where it's like, you killed my father or something because he ran through this random village, and then he said, "Sorry, I don't remember this." And then she, that triggers her because it's her whole life is this vendetta to get back to Bison. And so she's been training and training and training to be this basically assassin. And he says, "You know what? You just don't scare me because you can't beat me." And then she's like, "That's exactly what I wanted you to think." And then she starts kicking his ass, right?
He literally says, "I'm not worried about you. You can't hurt me because you're a woman."
Yep.
she's like, "That's what I wanted you
That's
to
what
say.
I wanted you to think. I am a woman. Can't, was a part of this whole thing, right? But also that's what I wanted you to think, that I was a woman." And so then she starts kicking his ass, right? And she's about to just basically kill him. And then her fucking dumbass cronies come in. They escape jail or something, and they say, "Lee, hey Lee, Lee," and she says, "Fucking what?" And he gets in. Bison gets away. They make her react, right? She says, "What?" And he escapes and stuff, right? And and then it's this whole thing, and then Jean-Claude is in the bowels of this pyramid and stuff, and he finds the Carlos or whatever, and then it's time for the countdown for the hostages to be either paid for, ran out. So he's going to kill them, and as a demonstration for his power, he's going to unleash the beast, right?
That's right.
But then, so this elaborate the beast's hyperbaric chamber is going to rise out from the middle of the floor, right next to where the hostages were, right, and then just wreak havoc. And sure enough, Jean-Claude comes flying out of there, but he comes literally flying across the room,
like straight. Obviously, he's got wires, because this homie is just cruising across.
He takes flight and kicks Bison, I think, right? And then it's this whole fight or something, and there's many fights within this fight scene.
Yeah.
And at one point he kills Bison, and then Bison activates his cryogenics.
Bison has
an
automatic
revival
defibrillator thing. And injects him with adrenaline, and then he's back up.
So then he has hovercraft abilities on his person as well, so he can hovercraft around. And I'm guessing that must have been some element. He must have been a boss or something in Street Fighter 2, the game.
Oh yeah,
he must have had some power move where he could like, pew, kick you really hard or something. No idea. But it's obviously that
unfortunately,
was kind of a thing.
Yeah, I say either. I mean, I remember playing it, but I can't remember what their
and so
stuff was.
Something happens where Jean-Claude roundhouse kicks him, and he goes flying into his wall of TVs,
Right.
And then that action sets off a fucking nuke.
It does.
Basically, I think that's basically the conclusion, right? It sets off a chain reaction for Bison's, because I don't think anybody else did that, right? Nobody else set charges or any kind of bombs. It was just the TVs blowing up was enough to destroy the whole layer.
That's a lot of power, man. A lot of power to drive those.
And what I thought was funny about all that was that they all, like, now it's time to leave, right? Everybody has to get out. All the henchmen and the people that the soldiers and the captives, they all have to find different ways to leave.
Yep.
And so then the pyramid blows up, and like 10 minutes before that, Bison was talking about how he chose this layer because it's this ancient wonder of the world, right? There's no other art. That's the where you dig up stuff. Archaeological finds, like the greatest archaeological thing on the planet, and then it just fucking blows up because some TVs got cracked. Right.
But there's when Bison, I think it might be before Bison dies the first time, but there's a part where Guile turns around, and on the screens is Bison talking to him, and he's like, "Come out from behind your curtain." Bison is literally fucking right next to the thing at eye level with Guile. He's not behind anything. He's literally, if he was just looking straight ahead, he could see him. It was just like,
well, yeah, but wasn't it also, he says, the line was something like, "Come out from behind the curtain, wizard." Like, it was a complete ripoff of Wizard of Oz. He says
and
the
it didn't
word
make
wizard,
any sense.
But again, like, what's right fucking there?
He was right there.
Oh my god!
But yeah, it all culminates with everything explodes. Bison dies, and right at the end, before it cuts out, they all pose in like the Street Fighter pose that you see on the video game, and then it ends.
Also, wasn't so there was some kind of countdown, right? Like a classic self-destruct countdown, something like that, right?
I think so.
But I have this memory of it. You hear the countdown can get to the last few seconds or whatever, and I swear to God, it gets to like 8, 7, and then it's just blowing up already, right?
Yeah.
It's half blown up before it gets to 1. And then there's this weird thing where they escape, right? It seems like Jean-Claude is dead because it literally starts exploding when he's in the middle of the pyramid, right? And he somehow escapes.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're all like, what, he didn't make it. Damn.
He was such
what
a good
soldier.
Guy.
And he has this one of his lieutenants or whatever who's with him the entire time, right? You can tell that she loves him or something, right?
Yeah, which is Kylie Minogue, by the way. I forgot to mention that, like the singer, the Australian singer.
Oh,
like she's killing it.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yep.
She's been, just kind of pawing after him the entire movie, right? And so he escapes the pyramid, just starts walking casually out to everybody they're all just chilling, right?
Yep.
And the reporter, who he at one point was going to put in jail for just kind of being around out of curfew, right?
Right.
They're like, "Oh yeah, all right, let's bang," right? They're right in front of that girl. I was just so weird to include, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That just reminded me of the spy boat scene where wasn't one part of it they had to activate some helmet shields. They were going to go subatomic or something, and they had to like put on their like visors of their helmets, right?
Yeah. Well,
in order to go,
they had to. So they have the stealth boat, but you had to push the stealth button to turn into the stealth.
right. But the act of doing that, they all had to put their visors down, right, in the enclosed boat.
Yeah, I think you're right. X-ray vision or something.
X-ray vision, subatomic.
All right,
subatomic vision.
I think we've covered it. I think that's enough.
Yeah, I think that definitely came. Some memories came back.
Memories. Yes. So
I gotta find our spreadsheet here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if we talked about this, but the budget was 35 million. That's about 71, I think, in today's numbers. And then box office is actually 99 million. So 201 million in today's numbers. So actually did pretty well worldwide. Was about half of what the whole box office was. So it was a global success, I guess you would say. But I don't know. I don't know if this really held up.
Maybe it would have been different if I remember playing the game at all. But
well, the game was sweet. That's why I was like, I remember seeing this movie probably when I was young, playing the game, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. But watching it back, it was tough.
Well, this is the Ascension to 10 podcast. We rate movies on an 11-point scale. Ascension being the worst thing you've ever seen to 10 best thing.
That's right.
What you got, Spenny?
I'm gonna give this. I think this is right on par with Batman. Giving this a 0.7.
Very interesting. Very interesting. This happens to be episode 42. I'm going to give this a 0.69.
Oh, nice.
So, round up to
Gosh,
7.
Should have said that. Should have said that. Dang. So close.
Well, I don't. Okay, so what's next? You sent me a link to a trailer. I haven't watched it yet. But is that what we're doing next?
It's a Jean-Claude movie. Just had to send it because it was terrible.
I mean, we've done Steven Seagal.
I mean, we
could do more JCV.
I'm down. I mean, it looks great.
What is it called? We're doing it.
It's called The Quest.
Quest. All right. Episode 43.
It's got Roger Moore in it. So.
Oh, hello. Okay. A little JCV, little James Bond.
Came out in 1996. Stars Jean-Claude. And then Roger Moore. So we'll see. It was another $30 million budget. So we'll see. This came out a couple years after this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe
so it's a little bit more action, shall we say.
Okay.
But we're not afraid that. And Jean-Claude directed it himself, too. So that'll be interesting.
All right.
Well,
we did it. We made it through.
Yeah. As always, as used to be, and now we're back. You can find us on our socials, Ascension to 10, Instagram, Twitter. We have a YouTube, which is the Ascension to 10 podcast, and our website, ascension to10.com. If you have any recommendations, certainly reach out to us there or email us at boys@ascension10.com.
Yeah, that reminds me. I was going to ask you, did we get a single email during our break?
No.
No one reached out. No one
reached out.
No one said anything.
No.
I haven't been doing any socials posting, so I guess that should
we have to get back at
again.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you?
No.
Wow.
So we're getting right back at it.
Taking a full break. That was a complete break.
But it doesn't mean we're not going to come back fast and furious.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
Hold on your butts.
This was a lot of fun. Hope you guys had fun.
Yep. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking around. I know it's been a while since we put one out, so we'll get back to regular programming.
That's right.
All righty. He's Jad. I'm Spenny. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Ascension to 10.